Hello, a very warm welcome to all the people attending this webinar today on accelerating data engineering with Vertica. Due to new high volume sources, departmental operations in the cloud, and changing requirements of analytics, data visualization, etc., most of the data goes unused by the enterprises. A true data-driven business must manage this explosive data growth and discover patterns that can open doors to new business opportunities. And this is where tools and platforms comes in handy to help businesses get the full advantage of their existing infrastructure with portability across multi-cloud, on-premise, and data lakes. To understand this complex topic better, Analytics India magazine, in association with Vertica, has organized this webinar where we will learn how businesses can accelerate their analytics performance using Vertica Data Warehouse platform. To lead this webinar, we have with us Mr. Ravi Gupta, Senior Solution Architect at Vertica, who has 18 years of industry experience in data warehouse, databases, and analytics field. Ravi has been engaged with customers across different industry verticals and helped them design suitable architecture and execute analytics strategies. Along with him, we have Hemendira Muralidharan. He's the Senior Product Marketing Manager at Vertica, who has also over a decade of expertise in product marketing and sales and is one of the key members of Vertica Product Marketing. He specializes in content creation, sales enablement, social media marketing, marketing intelligence, and competitor analysis. The session will be followed by a 10 minutes Q&A after the presentation, so please drop in your questions on the Q&A tab or on the chat window. And without any further delay, let's welcome Ravi and Hem to this webinar. Welcome and over to you, Hem.
Thank you, Sajati, and thank you, team. Happy evening, all, and thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join this event for us. And a big thanks to AIM for driving the event. In the next 15-20 minutes, I'll be looking to cover high-level overview of what Vertica is all about. I shall look to address most of what Vertica brings to the table at a high level, and then I will have Ravi Gupta, our expert and solutions architect, who will deep dive into the Vertica's technicalities. The brands that you see here are powered by Vertica for a reason. They excel at the scale of data and the second to millisecond response times. If you look, be it customizing 50 million online tax filing experiences or mapping 14 plus million daily rights or analyzing 10 million ad auctions every second, what you see here is the one common approach of our customers leveraging on Vertica as the unified analytics platform of choice. This slide is basically an extension of the previous slide, highlighting our customers in India across industry verticals, across the scale and nature of business, and across a wide variety of use cases, including enterprise level reporting or advanced analytics, machine learning, so on and so forth. So having said that, let's look at what is Vertica. The most important icon that you see on the slide is the plus sign. I would say Vertica is basically three key aspects put together. First is the ANSI SQL based MPP data warehouse, which can query both structured and unstructured data at scale. Vertica is built as a truly columnar data warehouse from the very first lines of code, and therefore Vertica is architecturally superior to many vendors in competition. I would take a moment here to recommend you to go to vertica.com and go to the resources section to read the white paper that's titled as Why All Column Stores Are Not the Same. That white paper gives you a deep dive on the differences between true column store versus databases that have column store as feature additions. Secondly, Vertica is also an analytics ML platform wherein users can create, train, and deploy analytics and machine learning models. If they prefer to use external platforms like H2O or TensorFlow, they could do that and kind of develop the models there and then score them back in Vertica. Last but not the least, Vertica is also a query engine which can query data from wherever it decides, be it on S3 or GCP or Hadoop. The largest cause of concern in today's market is the lack of clarity and uncertainty about the pricing and cost. With Vertica, I would say things are very simple and clear. You get flexible, forecastable, and predictable pricing. With all of this, I would like to take you to the Vertica Accelerator in detail. Vertica Accelerator is our answer to deliver advanced analytics at top speed from start to finish as a fully managed service. Vertica Accelerator is built on Vertica Neon Mode, which is a cloud-native architecture, and it provides the ability to provision and scale in minutes, and we have proof of this claim. And at the same time, it includes monitoring and upgrades, and the key here is you are able to run Vertica Accelerator on the customer's own AWS account. I know that sounds different in the customer's own AWS account. I would like to kind of deep dive on this in detail. On the right side, as you can see, this enables customers to create all of the data and compute resources on their own side and kind of really help them in terms of switching their service. It's worth noting this, even if you are already not on AWS and you wish to switch to a managed service that includes both hardware and software, you have the option of data that needs to be transferred from the customer's account to the managed provider's account. With Vertica, that is not the case. As a result, our approach really empowers customers to negotiate the pricing that they will have as an advantage when working with AWS. Finally, we establish cross-account identity management. Moving over to the next slide, in terms of how does it work, you have the Vertica accelerator that runs on the customer's AWS account. The customer just needs to log into the Vertica accelerator UI after being signed up. This will convey the readiness to Vertica that the customer is all set to use accelerator. Identity access management is then established during onboarding. You will then have the second phase wherein the Vertica management plane interacts with the customer's database. Note that no data movement is necessary or possible outside of the customer's AWS environment. What you see on the next slide is more of the Vertica's core value proposition, things that really stand out when it comes to using Vertica Accelerator. So how does Vertica achieve the desired performance, flexibility, and control? It is across these five gamuts. Elasticity. With Vertica, the advantage for our customers is they can really choose their underlying infrastructure and their compute nodes and change those instances and node count on the fly. In many, or at least in one managed service competitor in the market, customers really don't have the control in choosing the underlying infrastructure node types, and things really are not in the customer's hand. Then you have concurrency, wherein Vertica offers high concurrency because it is built on a proven execution engine, and because of Beyond Mode, workload isolation further protects and enables concurrency. Resiliency in Vertica is achieved through automatic node recovery, availability zone failover, and no single point of failure because Vertica runs on a peer-to-peer architecture where all nodes are equal. In terms of control, you get the control both on pricing and of your data because you have your own AWS account. In terms of automation, Vertica provides both auto scaling and auto scheduling, two more popular concepts in the recent past, and you also get upgrades and backups for ransomware protection. Having said that, how does the journey look from onboarding to ongoing? To get our customers started, we are offering services to make the support a seamless experience, be it across configuration, migration, or even the stages later. Customers get all the services and support, including how many clusters and subclusters are needed to set up, or how to migrate from a competitive environment, or even from one Vertica environment to another. Moving over to the next slide, we have a Vertica accelerator that is built on one Vertica, which is the one single version of truth. Customers have a choice either to run fully managed or self-managed deployment. In all cases, it is your data and you own your data. In all cases, you don't have any markup on your hardware. In all cases, you get to use one single product version of Vertica. And in all cases, you get to enjoy the benefits of performing advanced analytics, machine learning, or any kind of analytics in database without any third-party dependencies or without involving your partners. This slide is basically to summarize Vertica's flexibility and options for customers. What you see here is how important Vertica is as an entire analytics platform. You can choose your own metric, be it per TB or per node. You can choose the consumption model as and when it kind of really resonates with your business model. You can choose the right form of deployment that is ideal for your business, be it in private data centers or in public clouds or a mix of both. And you can even choose the level of automation that you need so that you really benefit from the ease of management that is required for performing at scale. What you see here is a comparative comparison between Vertica and a few other vendors offering data warehousing as a service. This information is fully available on our website. You can see Vertica's unlimited horizontal scalability, superior data partitioning, and high concurrency, even in terms of the breadth and depth of SQL functions that we offer, where we are really ahead in terms of the competition, and even in terms of the pricing and cost. I take pride in saying Vertica is unique, unlike other vendors here. In terms of the business model, there are vendors whose business model is driven by hardware and software bundling or by selling more compute. That doesn't work in the case with Vertica. I take pride by saying that we are the only SaaS vendor to offer a Vertica SaaS on customers' own AWS account without any data movement. In terms of pricing, Vertica doesn't price by credits or units and instead uses the common denominator of pricing, which is the vCPU per hour. We are offering Vertica Accelerator for as low as 0.09 cents per vCPU per hour and across a range of node types and sizes. Depending on your needs and timelines, we are more than happy to further discount Vertica Accelerator. What you see then is amazingly crisp video on Vertica Accelerator, and over to you, team.
Vertica Accelerator delivers blazing fast analytics as a managed service with a simplified experience for all. Setting up an account is quick, simple, and secure, with the possibility of enabling single sign-on in the future. After signing up, you'll cross-link Vertica Accelerator with your AWS account. Our Bring Your Own Cloud model allows you to keep data and compute resources on your own secure cloud while leveraging your AWS pricing contract. Upon login, you'll be greeted by the home page. Here, you can easily gauge your database's status and health at a glance, as well as view details on a more granular level. When it comes to creating a database, we've streamlined the process to maximize ease of use by offering popular, affordable, and highly performant choices. With simple cluster sizing and the option to scale up or down later, creating a database is quicker and easier than ever. While deploying your database relies on Amazon provisioning hardware, typically databases fully deploy in under 10 minutes. It's that fast. Adding subclusters is just as easy as creating a database. You can have heterogeneous subclusters within one database, each with different sizes and instance types. Since Vertica Accelerator is running on Eon mode architecture, you can easily change your subcluster size and instance types with just a few clicks. Next, you'll follow a few quick steps to connect to third-party tools and your preferred programming language using the pre-filled connection string. DNS names are assigned to all your subclusters, so you can easily connect to them without having to memorize node IP addresses. Now that your database is up and running, monitor the health of your entire system on a single dashboard. View the most relevant and important information about your system to get an indication of how well your databases are doing. There's also a similar dashboard where you can monitor usage consumption. This page shows a usage summary with session logs for each database, helping you to monitor runtimes as well as manage costs. We know that our customers are busy people, so we're introducing auto-scaling, a time-based scheduling feature that allows you to automate scaling on both one-time and recurring schedules. Alternatively, if you have unpredictable or volatile workloads, use elastic auto-scaling. Just set a threshold at which to start additional secondary subclusters at, and you're all set. In this instance, when the number of running sessions on the database exceeds 56, or 15 minutes or more, an additional secondary subcluster will start. More secondary subclusters will be started or stopped on the same basis. This, in conjunction with the flexibility of heterogeneous subclusters of different sizes and instance types, offers full control over the balance between performance and cost effortlessly. When you enable the idle shutdown feature, your database will automatically stop when there are no active queries running, saving you time and valuable resources. With that, we've covered the steps to get started with Vertica Accelerator, as well as features to optimize for performance and cost, all with just a few clicks. Now you can have your analytics running on a Vertica database in no time.
Thanks, Ajati, and thanks, Sam, for the useful information about Vertica Accelerator. And I'm very glad to tell you all that Vertica Accelerator is now available for trial. Please go ahead and register into accelerator.vertica.com, and you will just register yourself, and you will be given 14 days trial for yourself. Although it's screen is showing 7 days, but it is available 14 days now. So please go ahead and register and try Vertica Accelerator. Okay, so today I'm going to tell more about what Vertica has been doing and what recently Vertica has launched, because Vertica 11 has been launched recently. I'll be telling you what are the few new features which we have introduced and how these features are going to help all of you. One thing I would like to tell that Vertica has always been focusing on few key things, that how to basically Vertica as a software more useful for the customer. And our vision was very clear since beginning. We would like to be known as a software player. So our platform and software offering will always be there. The second thing is that we are trying to move a lot of analytics things to the cloud. And the third thing is that we are also trying to make ourselves as a SQL engine on top of Hadoop. So if you have Hadoop data, we would like to act as a fast query engine on top of that. Vertica is trying to make sure that it integrates with a lot of ecosystems and tools which are available in the market, the ETL tool or BI tool. So we make sure that we are fully integrating with all of them. We are also having a vision that we will try to build machine learning capabilities in the database, and we are keep on doing improvements on that. And another key area what we have is that we try to separate compute and storage. So this is another thing which we have made sure that we are doing, and it is part of our vision. So with that, I would like to tell you that what we are doing in Vertica 11. So we make sure that we have the flexibility on the deployment. We are separating the compute and storage. We are doing more work on security side so that the user connections and data accessibility and data access is fully secure within Vertica. We are adding more machine learning features and functionalities in Vertica. And obviously, performance was the key thing which was known in Vertica. So we try to add more and more features to improve the performance of the database. We also try to work with the open source communities. So if somebody is trying to explore more things with Vertica along with the open source community softwares, we are fully available for that. And that's why we have created our own channel in GitHub, that github.com/Vertica. And within that, you will find multiple underlying tags over here. For example, we have recently launched Kubernetes integration. So the Kubernetes complete information is openly available here. We are doing a lot of improvements on Vertica Pi, and we have also make all the things available over here in Vertica Pi. We have improved our Spark connector and make it open, so you can try to download and use it as per the instruction given in this URL. The idea over here is that how we work in the whole open source community and how the people in the open source community can integrate Vertica along with their own ecosystem and the tools and technologies what they are using. Vertica launched Eon mode, which is one of the deployment architecture in Vertica. We launched this around 3-4 years back, and the idea was very clear that we would like to separate the compute and storage. And in this architecture, we store the whole data in a single object storage, and we have multiple subclusters. The workload in these subclusters are not touching to each other. That means if anything happening on machine learning cluster will not have any impact on the dashboarding or the ETL utilities. You can shut down all of these, or you can shut down the dashboard or reporting cluster or the machine learning cluster, and you can independently scale them, also scale up or scale down. Whatever you want to do that, you can do that. And the beauty is that all the subclusters will be accessing data from the single S3 bucket. Although it is a S3 bucket over here, but it can be a Google Cloud storage, or it can be an on-prem S3 storage like Pure Storage, that is also possible. Or even in Azure, you can use Azure Blob Storage to create this storage. So the idea was that how we can create full scalable model where depending upon the use case and user requirement, we can have subclusters and we can shut down them or launch them or automatically scale up and down to all of them. Eon mode was made available in 2018 in AWS. We did some improvement and we make sure that the same Eon mode is working on-prem also. And we did a certification with Pure Storage, and we make some customers live with Pure Storage. So the Eon mode works on AWS as well as on-prem with Pure Storage. Last year, we did the integration testing with Google Cloud Storage, and now Eon mode works successfully on Google Cloud, and we have a couple of customers using Vertica on Google Cloud. At the same time, we also integrated Vertica with software-based solutions, software-based storage solutions like Minayo and Scality, where these software creates an object storage on top of any commodity storage. And at the same time, we also certified Vertica Eon mode on Hadoop. That means you can create your storage on top of Hadoop, and you can have separate compute. This year, we have done EON certification with Azure, and now it is available on Azure. If you go to Azure site and you try to launch a new cluster, you will find an option whether you want to launch an enterprise mode or EON mode. You will choose EON mode, and the fully architecture which I was showing about the EON mode will be available in the Azure. At the same time, we have also certified EON mode on Dell ECS. So Dell ECS is one of their storage platform, and they support S3 based API call. So we created basically an bucket inside Dell ECS storage. All compute nodes will be connected to that. The same EON mode can be deployed on. Our future roadmap is that we will be certifying EON mode on Alibaba Cloud, and we will also be testing and certifying this EON architecture on Nutanix or other on-prem vendors like IBM Storage or NetApp kind of storage. So these works is currently on progress, and very soon you will get that Vertica EON mode is working on prem with different HCI vendors and storage vendors. One of the other improvements which we have done in Vertica 11 is that improving on Kubernetes side. So we fully support the Vertica Kubernetes architecture, and in this architecture, we create Vertica pods. And one of the important thing here is that we support stateful sets, and multiple pods are created, and these are put in a single namespace. And at the same time, we create a single storage mount point, which is visible to all the pods, and the same EON architecture is deployed over here, and they are putting all of the data into a single storage. And in case any of these pods went down because of some reason, Kubernetes orchestration will automatically relaunch the new pod, and your cluster high availability will be fully up. Some of the customers have tried to add a logic of how to scale up and scaling down the cluster. And with the Kubernetes integration, they are able to scale up the cluster and down as well. As I said, with Vertica 11, we have tried to make it more secure with the data. And we have recently did FIPS compliance testing with Vertica, and Vertica 11 has been tested with FIPS, and it has been done on top of RHEL 8.1 with OpenSSL. So if some BFSI kind of organization wants that the software which they are using should be FIPS compliance, so we have completed that, and it is now available. We have also done some improvements with the Voltage. So Voltage is software for doing data encryption. We already integrated Voltage with Vertica, and through Voltage we were integrating that capability of encrypting certain columns values in the database. But with the recent improvements, we are able to add new algorithms like format preserved hashing and more things. Whatever Voltage has introduced as a new feature, we have done in integration with them, and those will be available in Vertica 11. We have also done improvements on the TLS connections, and we would like to use one central location for authenticating all the TLS connections, and that is now available with Vertica 11. And we have also improved a few key configuration settings and management settings for handling multiple S3 buckets. So these improvements have been done in Vertica 11, and you will get detail in the online documentation that how we achieve that. But the idea was that how to securely access multiple S3 buckets from the Vertica cluster. One of the other improvements what we have done in Vertica 11 is the complex data type support with Parquet. So as you know, in some of the cases that user store the complex data type inside their Parquet and ORC files, and they internally have some data which is in this format. I would just like to show you an example that if you create a table, you can have few attributes, but the few attributes could be a struct type. In this example, we have a array data type, and then array has internally multiple shipment addresses. So the idea was that how to import such data inside Vertica, where the Parquet and ORC files have some complex data type inside them. So we actually try to improve all those things, added some features like set data type and bounded arrays, all those things, even if the null values are there, to how to handle arrays for them. So we support all these features inside Vertica. And once you try to import this data from Parquet files into Vertica tables, all data will be mapped correctly. And once the table is created, you will be able to fully query that table with the Vertica SQL. We also added few more things. For example, we have added functions like toJSON and explode, where you want to transform the data which is inside Vertica table. So you would be able to transform all these data using these functions. Array functions, we have done improvement on them. Basically, if you want to get value of an array data type, let's say you want to get first value, last value, or you want to perform some operations, you will be able to do that with Vertica. And we are also now having features of creating views with all this data type, which I have explained here. Now, one of the important thing which I would like to show here is that how data engineers are using Vertica and how they can leverage different data engineering parts in Vertica, because data engineering is something where they try to integrate different data sources with one platform. They try to explore the data, they try to transform the data, and they try to create aggregated view of the data. And in fact, they try to create data pipelines also. So I would like to show that how we get all those things done with Vertica. And before that, I would like to tell that before doing that, Vertica comes up with a lot of inbuilt SQL functions, which are analytical inbuilt function. And all those functions, whatever you see here, is like aggregated function, time series functions, analytical function, string functions, or if you say that geospatial functions or IP conversion functions, all these functions are inbuilt. So when data engineers try to transform the data, change the view of the data, or work on the attributes and column and their value they would like to change, or let's say they want to do some sort of aggregation, create window or buckets. In those cases, all these functions which are inbuilt into Vertica help them, and they don't need to write that function, or they don't need to write multiple subqueries or a big subquery and join them with other subquery. Rather than that, they will utilize all these functions to do data transformation in Vertica, which is a huge thing, and it helps business and developers not to spend time writing the small functions. If you see in Vertica, Vertica comes up with an inbuilt capability that you can have data inside Vertica and the full data is accessible through SQL. But at the same time, we have the capability to query your data through Python or Jupyter Notebook, and Vertica stores data in the relational table. Vertica supports fully star and snowflake schemas, so you can create multiple schema models within Vertica, and you can have multiple relations, and you can have primary key, foreign key, all those is defined inside Vertica. At the same time, in Vertica, you can create staging schemas, you can transform data through SQL, and if you would like to do some sort of aggregation, you can do that. You can do data governance, and you can get machine learning inbuilt into the platform. However, from a data engineering perspective, what happens that you would like to integrate data from different sources, and I would like to show you that how we do that. So if you get data in raw file format like files, log files, JSON files, we have a Vertica copy command which can process the data and load into Vertica. And process means definitely we can transform these files while loading into Vertica. We can remove some column values, you can transform some values as well. If you are trying to bring data from other databases, we definitely have an inbuilt utility called ODB. At the same time, we can use an ETL tool like Informatica Talent, and you can read data from different sources and either take the ETL approach or the ELT approach. In ELT approach, you can write the raw data directly into the staging area and then write another SQL to transform this data into star or a Snowflake. That is also possible. If you are trying to bring real-time events data or stream data, which is coming as events, and events may be coming in a regular time interval or in a different time intervals, we have a full integration with Kafka and Kinesis. So you can load all these events data and stream kind of data directly into Vertica in the real time. If you are also reading some web or application logs or the web activity and you would like to transform this data before loading into Vertica, maybe Spark or AWS Glue kind of thing you are using, then you can use with Vertica, because Vertica has a connectivity with Spark and Glue, and you can transform data, you can process data in between Vertica and the Spark area. We have a Spark connector, and you can process this data and keep on loading into Vertica in the real time. We fully support that. Now, the fourth thing which are bringing all this data into Vertica, in every step you can see that you can do data transformation over here. You can do data transformation over here, over here. At the same time, if you would like to say that I have some data which is not coming from here, but I have some data which has already been there in a Mount Point or in a S3 bucket or a NAS or a SAN kind of environment, I would like to transform this data or read the data, Vertica definitely has the capability. So if you have some data in object storage, and the data could be any of this, like JSON files, ORC files, Parquet, Avro, or even CSV, all this data files, Vertica fully support that. So Vertica copy commands has an option, and we have inbuilt parser. We can directly read data from your external sources. We can read data. We can also write data back into those locations. Now, if it is in cloud, definitely you can use an S3 as S3 bucket, but if the data is in Hadoop or Pure Storage, in the same way, we can also read data from here and consume that and transform it and use it for business purpose. When it comes to business definitely would like to see the data in a visual format or through SQL queries. Vertica provides ODBC, JDBC, and ADO.NET connector. And we also provide certified connector for Tableau and Power BI. So those visualization tool can connect to Vertica. The moment they connect, they see the complete hierarchy of a schema as an attribute, and they can drag and drop and visualize data as per the need. But the important thing over here is that how you perform data engineering. So you will be able to perform all the data transformation tasks, putting them into a staging area, transforming them into relational table in the form of the star schema or a Snowflake. You will be able to do all those things. One of the important things what we have done in Vertica 11 is that we have certified with Spark connector version 2.0. So you would be able to get all those features which are available in the new Spark versions. And one of the things I would like to highlight is that in earlier there was slowness in data transform or data loading when you load data into Vertica through different Spark libraries. What we have done as an improvement is that now we have parallel data loading option, so that the data loading can be fast from Spark to Vertica. We have added a SQL push down feature. We have added projection support. So projection support means in Vertica we have tables and projections. So if Spark would like to directly write into projection, it is definitely possible. And we are also implementing such that the Spark connector such that we support SSO and Kerberos as well, as so that the connection, whatever connection is established from Spark, is fully authenticated and secure. As I said, Vertica has been doing a lot of new things in Vertica 11, and one of the major feature which we have added is a stored procedure. And stored procedure is a thing where you create your own business logic or some sort of a logic where you run multiple select queries in one particular logical unit, and at the same time you would like to transform some data and get some results back from that logical unit. So we create procedures inside Vertica, and the procedure language as of now is very similar to PGPL SQL, and you can create procedures and functions, and you can use cursors inside that. And I will show you one example after that. And we are also adding some feature by which you can schedule that when this particular procedure should run. We are also trying to add some feature where you can trigger certain events that if this happens, then run this particular procedure. All these things will be available in Vertica. I would like to show you one example of PL/SQL. In this example, I'm just creating a procedure called factorial SP, and I'm passing one parameter. And if you see the language, by default, it is written language PG/PL/SQL. Sorry, PL/PG SQL. So as of now, we are following that format. However, there will be a little bit syntax changes, which will be available in the online documentation. But the key idea over here is that how you perform row-based operations, or how you logically group multiple SQL statements in one go, and you can have your own logic. If this happened, then do this. If this happened, then do that. So in this example, I'm running a select query, and I'm trying to sum certain values based upon the input which I'm passing as a parameter. And once this procedure is created, you can execute this procedure by calling this method call function name and pass this parameter as a value. And then based upon how many loops it runs, it raises a notice over here, and this will be displayed in your screen. Okay, Vertica has also added a feature called custom alerts in Management Console. So Management Console is a web-based console in Vertica to monitor and administrate the cluster. Depending upon your own logic, number of users is going high, or the CPU utilization is going low or high, you can write a custom query, and whenever this query will be executed, and if it found that results are correct, it will send you an alert. So based upon your custom SQLs, the alerts will be generated and it will be emailed to you, and you can see that what is happening in the cluster. If certain conditions are happening, you will get alert as an email. Few things I would like to highlight about the machine learning and prediction. So Vertica has been doing a lot of improvements on the machine learning side, and we have 4 major focus areas on the machine learning side. And one of them was that how we automate the machine learning. Another is that how to make it more scalable, how to give the functionality to data science people that they can visualize data more in a more better way, and can explore data in a more efficient way, and how they can run all the data preparation tasks in a scale. And we have considered all the 4 pillars over here, and the Vertica Pi, which is our new machine learning platform, which we actually launched last year, but we have been adding a lot of features into that, and now it is fully available along with Vertica. And you will see that we have added auto ML kind of thing. Our data preparation and data visualization APIs have improved, and if you just see the examples, the online documentation, you will find that a lot of better way have come to understand data, and it will definitely help data science guys who does a lot of data engineering work, or who do a lot of data transformation work in the beginning. We have also added support for TensorFlow 2.5. Earlier, TensorFlow version supported was 2.0, I believe. Now we have tested with TensorFlow 2.5. We have also started supporting the models import and export in the PMML format, and especially with Vertica 11. We support generalized linear model for PMML import. That means if you have created a linear model outside of Vertica, we can support that model importing inside Vertica and then use inside Vertica. So that is fully supported. A couple of new things which we have done in Vertica is on time series forecasting side. And if you know the machine learning, the time series forecasting, a couple of popular technique, and one of the technique is that autoregressive model and moving average models. So Vertica now supports both the methods. In this example, we have added a function called autoregressor, and we train the model with this method or this modeling technique, and then predict with this modeling technique. At the same time, we can train the model with moving average technique, and we can see the results with the moving average technique. The idea here is that how we make the thing simple. And earlier, these techniques were not there, although we support multiple techniques like linear regression, logistic regression, XGBoost, random forest, all those techniques. But we realized that time series is definitely one of the things which many customers were asking. And what we have done, definitely we created two functions, but we have make it a general functions in the form of ARIMA. So you will fully get that time series forecasting through ARIMA. And if you go to our Vertica Pi documentation, you will see the complete function detail that how we use ARIMA. The important thing over here is to understand the use case. Let's say you are getting some time-based values of, let's say, sales. A sale were happening over the year, and you have data for 6 years, and you would like to forecast for next 5 to 8 years of data. Definitely, the blue value, whatever you see here, is the actual value which we have in the sample data set, and the red value, whatever you see, are the values which we have forecasted. So the idea here is that how to understand the historical data and then do the forecasting based upon the historical data. And you can see that we are able to forecast for next 8 years of data over here based upon the history, and we are able to visualize that also. So Vertica is very good on processing time series data, and we have the capability to perform windowing clause, interpolation, gap filling. All those techniques are inbuilt into Vertica. With the machine learning model capabilities, now we are able to even forecast data based upon the historical data, and this is going to help a lot of businesses going forward. So with this, I would like to conclude. One thing is that Vertica Pi, which is one of the machine learning platform in Vertica, we have done a lot of improvements. This platform is very much adopted by the data science people because we give a Python content. So the moment you open a Jupyter notebook, you just start writing code in Python, and the whole code will be supported by the Vertica Pi, and Vertica Pi will convert that code in the backend, and it will convert it to the SQL call, and the SQL will be executed in Vertica, and that is why machine learning is really fast in Vertica. The other thing is we are trying to add a lot of rendering capabilities. So earlier maybe we were just showing you normal graphs. With the new version of Vertica Pi, you can create dynamic graphs, and you can even see that when you hover your mouse over there, the values will automatically pop up, and you can see that it's more a graph which you can say that it's more interactive graph. So we are actually trying to add more capabilities as a rendering capabilities so that it is good for data science person to adopt this platform and use it. And at the same time, we are actually following the complete data science or machine learning process. So we are trying to make sure that the data science person is using Vertica Pi as a complete machine learning cycle platform. I mean, they don't need to move data out of Vertica into a Spark or another cluster. So right from data preparation to model creation to model deployment and forecasting, all the steps they will get inside Vertica, and they will use Vertica Pi as a complete machine learning platform. Okay, so with this, I would like to stop here. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us. And I have given an email ID of satyakiran.dulipala@microfocus.com. If you have any queries, please send your queries to this mail ID, and we will be more than happy to revert to you. And please feel free to give your feedback in this mail ID. And thank you very much. If you have any questions, please let me know. We are ready to answer your questions now.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you, Hem. Indeed, a very interesting session and a good hands-on on Vertica Accelerator. We have a few questions. Let's take them up. We have a few minutes before we can close the session. So Kishore Bhanu is asking, Ravi sir, can you explain the governance block in data engineering with Vertica slide?
Okay, very good question. So in governance block, the idea over here is that, let me just go to that slide so that it is easy for you. The governance means that how you can control the access of the data to different users and how you can governance the access of certain attributes and column to the user. So since Vertica is a relational database in the core, so you can have roles, privileges, and you can define that for this particular object, a user has privilege to see that thing or not. Depending upon that, you can perform the governance. At the same time, we also have capability to control the column level access. So we can say that for this user, when he query the particular table, he will see the column value as null, but for other users, they will see the value. This kind of control we can do inside Vertica. And at the same time, you can do backup recovery, all those governance of data in terms of data storage size. You will get everything into Vertica like that. I hope this answers your query.
Yeah. Kishore Bhanu has also asked another question on any plans to support neural networks algorithms of ML in Vertica.
A good question. So as of now, Vertica does not support neural networks out of the box. However, as we have integration with TensorFlow, so with the help of TensorFlow, you can create neural network model outside of Vertica and bring them into Vertica through PMML, or you can use Vertica Pi as an interface. I'm just going into that slide. You can use Vertica Pi as an interface, and in the Vertica Pi interface, you can import those models which you have written in TensorFlow, import them into Vertica, and then use along with Vertica. As of today, we cannot create a neural model in Vertica, neural network model. But definitely, if you have a model and you want to forecast the values which are already in Vertica as a test data set, you take that model inside Vertica, use them along with Vertica, and predict values along with Vertica.
Correct. Okay, another question. This one is by Saurav Mishra. I'm using Vertica Spark connector using HDFS as an intermediate layer. Often large file upload gets timed out at Vertica end. Files are first written in AVRO format in HDFS before being written to Vertica database. We need to increase the timeout of the user based on file size. Is there any option to tackle this situation differently?
Yeah, so we understand that there were certain issues with the older Parquet integration. What we have done with Vertica, we are trying to improve that. In place of HDFS, we can write the intermediate files into an object storage, and I think there is also improvement happening that we can even write those intermediate files in the format of Parquet. Although I'm not sure whether it is Parquet is still there or not, but definitely there are roadmaps that how we can do the faster total loading in Vertica through Spark connector. And one of the improvement what we have done is that we have make it parallel now. So earlier single thread was running and it was writing intermediate files. And if any of the files read write is slow, basically the whole process can go into a toss and user can keep on waiting. So we have at least parallelized that so that internally multiple threads are reading writing those files so that data loading can be fast. However, in terms of not using Avro and using another format, I think that work is in progress and few options will be available in future so that in place Avro, you can write data in different formats as intermediate files. I hope this will help.
Yeah, I hope Saurabh gets his answer in this one. There's another question he has asked. Would like to understand the encryption for data in REST, how it is governed.
Okay, so as of today, I mean, the moment you integrate Vertica with Voltage, the Voltage integration will make sure that when the data is in REST, it is fully encrypted and nobody can hack the data until unless he get access to the Voltage server. So when the data is encrypted, it will be encrypted even in the REST or till the time user reads that. And even if the data is, let's say, moving it between the nodes, or when the data is moving from server to client, the data will be fully encrypted in such a way that nobody can hack that until unless he gets a key for the Voltage server. So definitely that feature is there in Vertica, and with the help of voltage integration, data can be encrypted and it is fully secure with Vertica.
Correct. We will take up one last question before we wrap up the session. This is by Sundaram. She's asking, is there any academic alliance available for education purpose to understand Vertica?
A good question. So we have created our own online academies. So basically we call them as academy.vertica.com. You just open that and you will find that there are a lot of courses. In fact, for every major release, we launch a course. At the same time, there are specific courses for DBAs and specific courses for admins and some of the special courses for tuning. So the moment you will register there, you will find 6 to 7 different type of courses there. You can complete your course over there, and all the recorded sessions are there. And once you complete them, and if you have any queries in the same site, you can raise your questions. Our training team will read them and definitely will set up a call with you so that your queries are also answered. But we try to make it very simple in the current pandemic situation. We have made everything online and you can leverage that. So please feel free and register into Vertica Academy.
Correct. So in the interest of time, we have to wrap up the session. But Ravi, if you want to put up the last slide, which you have as a contact details, and if any of the attendees want to come up with more questions and more queries, they can reach out to this email ID, and I'm sure Ravi and him would be happy to answer those questions. But for now, thank you so much. It was indeed a great session, and I hope the audience has now a good understanding of Vertica Data Warehouse platform and how it can help businesses accelerate their analytics performance. So thank you so much once again.
Thanks
you,
everyone for joining.
Thanks, bye.
Thanks everyone. Thanks, Abhiti. Thanks, Bye-bye.